With all the negative Star Trek news fans have been forced to endure recently, it's important to remember the good times. And the best time in Star Trek will forever be our favorite decade, the 90s. The 1990s were Star Trek's golden age, with numerous successful Trek movies and 3 different series. Running from 1995 to 2001, Star Trek Voyager was the last of those series, and also the last Star Trek television effort to get a full 7 seasons. Despite numerous attempts, no show has accomplished that since. Over time, Voyager's reputation has only grown to the point where now Captain Janeway is a coffee meme.
Commander, set a new course. There's coffee in that nebula.
And 7 of 9 is a beloved character who fans lobbied to get her own series. Star Trek Voyager had its ups and downs, but the show's biggest up happened in one specific episode. This is Giant Freakin' Robot, and this is why the best episode of Star Trek Voyager is Equinox. Equinox is the story of what might have been.
All hands to battle stations.
A haunting glimpse into what Voyager could have become had its crew abandoned their principles.
They deleted my ethical subroutines.
Aired as the Season 5 finale and Season 6 premiere in 1999, this 2-part cliffhanger gripped audiences during the show's hiatus in much the same way Next Generation's Best of Both Worlds, Part 1 and 2, had a decade earlier.
Fire.
5 years before the episode's events, the Federation starship Voyager was stranded in a remote galaxy by the Caretaker, an entity that left them facing a 70-year journey home.
Mr. Paris, set a course. For home.
Determined to uphold Starfleet values, Voyager's crew set a course for Earth. Unbeknownst to them, another Federation ship, the Equinox, was also stranded by the Caretaker. A Nova-class science vessel with a crew of just 78, the Equinox had limited armaments and a top speed of warp 8, compared to Voyager's Intrepid-class design, which boasted 141 crew members, advanced weapons, and a maximum speed of warp 9.975. Unlike the better-equipped Voyager, the Equinox crew chose a darker path, but that's not clear at first. When Voyager encounters the Equinox after 5 years in hostile space,
Arm yourselves!
They find a battered ship under attack by mysterious alien forces. These nucleogenic aliens' relentless assaults through interdimensional rifts, depicted with groundbreaking CGI, consumed a significant chunk of the episode's budget for their ethereal design. The Equinox is a shambles, its crew decimated. Voyager's team searches the wreckage, finding a survivor buried under rubble who gasps,
"Do me a favor. See if my legs are still there. I haven't felt them in 2 days."
This raw line was entirely improvised by actor Rick Worthy as crewman Noah Lessing. Another crewman leaps from the debris, firing wildly at non-existent invaders before collapsing, while the remaining survivors are nearly catatonic from trauma. The Equinox's dilapidated interior, inspired by submarine warfare films like Das Boot, contrasted sharply with Voyager's pristine Starfleet aesthetic, emphasizing despair. Janeway and her crew are overjoyed to find another Federation ship in the Delta Quadrant.
To kindred spirits, may our journey home together be swift.
And they leap to the aid of their fellow Starfleet officers, going to work on repairing their ship and working to develop a defense against their attackers. The Equinox's captain, Rudolph Ransom, played by John Savage, a once-respected Starfleet officer, claims they don't know why they're being targeted by these creatures.
We can't communicate with them. They've been attacking us for weeks.
The truth is far darker. Ransom's crew discovered that interdimensional creatures could be killed and converted into superfuel for propulsion.
Fuel.
Is that the euphemism we're using now? You mean we need to kill more life forms?
Several more.
Abandoning Starfleet's rules and morality, they've been slaughtering the aliens to speed their journey home. Ransom pleads desperation.
It's easy to cling to principles when you're standing on a vessel with its bulkheads intact, manned by a crew that's not starving.
But Voyager's crew, led by Captain Janeway, Kate Mulgrew, rejects his excuses.
I'm putting an end to your experiments.
When Janeway tries to arrest them, the Equinox crew escapes, damaging Voyager and leaving them vulnerable to the vengeful aliens. Janeway's fury ignites.
I'm going to hunt him down no matter how long it takes, no matter what the cost. If you want to call that a vendetta, go right ahead.
Over the two-parter, she risks her crew's lives to stop Ransom, threatens to kill an Equinox crewman for information,
Captain!
As you were.
and relieves Chakotay, her first officer, of duty when he challenges her near-murderous orders.
You're hereby relieved of duty until further notice.
This darker Janeway was, at the time, a bold departure from her diplomatic norm.
Would anyone care to explain?
Kate Mulgrew makes the most of it, delivering one of her most engaged performances, while the cast thrives on a script that gives everyone a moment. Mulgrew has admitted in the past that her heart wasn't always in her Voyager work.
18 hours a day for 7 years, in 4-inch heels, completely prepared, driving myself to work at 3:45, and myself home 16, 17 hours later, raising 2 children. And I did it all without a hitch, and I did it to the best of my ability.
She struggled with personal issues throughout much of the show's production, and there was conflict between her and Jerry Ryan, which often blew up in tension on the set.
It wasn't easy. It wasn't an easy working relationship between the two of us. It was awkward. So some of the scenes that could play into, and some of the scenes made it work.
But for these episodes, she chewed scenery.
Return the favor.
Janeway becomes the relentless commander fans craved, a phaser-toting vengeance dealer, evoking Captain Kirk with a chip on his shoulder. Writers Brannon Braga and Joe Menosky deliberately channeled that original series energy, grounding it in Voyager's stakes.
There's a limited
I'm
stability.
aware of the situation, Engineer, and I'm getting a little tired of my senior officers conspiring against me.
The two-parter's most haunting subplot involves 7 of 9, Jerry Ryan, and the Doctor, Robert Picardo.
Hi there.
Hello.
Come here often?
This is my first time.
Pupil and teacher, held captive on the Equinox. Ransom rewrites the Doctor's program, turning the healer into a sadistic scientist.
She'll try to resist. I'll have to restrain her.
Doctor.
As the Doctor tortures 7, digging into her brain in a procedure that could kill her,
Oh, my darling Clementine.
he manipulates her to sing My Darlin' Clementine as a sick duet. Director David Livingston chose this folk song for its eerie simplicity, a last-minute decision that became iconic. Echoing deep in the Equinox's crumbling bowels, the sounds of 7 forced to sing sweet harmony while being murdered by her best friend are unforgettable.
Light she was and like a fairy.
And her shoes were number 9.
Herring boxes without topses.
Sandals were for Clementine.
By the episode's end, nothing is unscathed. Bulkheads explode, relationships fracture, and not all is forgiven. Equinox feels like an epic feature film rather than a TV episode, and that's part of why it continues to work so well decades later. But at the time, the show's home network,
You're watching UPN,
didn't want to make it. UPN, which would later go on to interfere with, ruin, and cancel Star Trek Enterprise, insisted they preferred standalone episodes over serialized arcs to attract casual viewers. However, the previous success of Star Trek Voyager's Season 4 multi-parter Year of Hell gave the writers and Livingston leverage to bargain for a more ambitious, character-driven story. A Trek veteran with 62 episodes across the franchise, Livingston also pushed for and got a longer-than-usual shooting schedule. He had 10 days to work on each episode instead of the usual 7 given for each episode's shoot. The cast rehearsed extensively to nail the emotional intensity, with Mulgrew and Savage bonding over their shared theater backgrounds to refine their confrontations. For Kate Mulgrew, the episode was one of her career highlights.
It was a huge accomplishment because many times I really wanted to fold. Exhausted. And I didn't fold.
In a 2003 Star Trek DVD commentary, she called it the episode where we all brought our A-game. It paid off. Equinox was a critical and fan success, praised for its intense performances, moral complexity, and cinematic quality. A 1999 TV Guide review called it Voyager at its gutsiest, while fan polls on early 90s internet forums like TrekWeb ranked it among the series' best. Its legacy endures, with fans still debating Janeway's ethics and ranking Equinox alongside Year of Hell and Scorpion as Voyager's finest hours. The episode has heavily influenced later Trek shows, with Star Trek Prodigy's writers citing its exploration of moral gray areas as inspiration for their 2024 season. Equinox isn't just Voyager's best episode, it's a glimpse into what the series could have been if it had been allowed to push boundaries. Many cite Season 4's Year of Hell as the series' peak, but Year of Hell marked the start of Voyager's risk-taking. It signaled a willingness to break from Voyager's often static formula, a mindset that peaked with Equinox. Equinox captures Voyager at its boldest, exploring what happens when Starfleet's ideals crumble under pressure. Still think Year of Hell is the best episode? Deactivate your ethical subroutines and do battle in the comments.
Doctor!
Like this video? Do all that YouTube stuff to support this channel. We can't do any of this without help from all of you.
He said eat this or he'll force it down the gullet of your corpse.
No offense. Ah, none taken.
Until next time, this has been Giant Freakin' Robot.
Once you get past the choking reflex, it's really not so bad.
Citizen of Earth, surrender. Do not resist.
I am Borg.
Surrender.
The robot has been neutralized. May I leave now?